Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's always great to have you here, and today you're diving deep into something timeless, essential, and often misunderstood: true personal cultivation. Let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you ever met someone who just exudes peace, strength, and wisdom without saying much at all? Someone whose presence is calming, whose words carry weight, and whose actions are intentional and graceful. Chances are, you've encountered a truly cultivated person. Today's video explores the rare but extraordinary qualities that make such individuals unforgettable, not because they shout the loudest, but because they carry a silent power rooted in a lifetime of self-discipline and growth. We are going to focus on 3 key traits that every genuinely cultivated person seems to embody. They are never in a hurry. They avoid unnecessary conflict, and they refuse to drain themselves on things that don't matter. These qualities may sound simple, but behind each one lies a universe of inner discipline and strength. So buckle in, because what we're about to discuss could change the way you move through life. Let's begin with the first trait: not being in a hurry. In today's hyper-speed world, patience has become a rare virtue. We are bombarded daily with highlight reels of instant success: young entrepreneurs raising millions, influencers gaining massive followings overnight, fresh graduates landing 6-figure jobs. It's easy to feel like you're falling behind. But here's the truth: cultivated individuals have realized life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. They understand timing, and more importantly, they respect it. I once knew a horticulturist who specialized in orchids. He used to say, "Flowers don't bloom faster just because you yell at them." She spent 3 years growing one specific orchid from seed to full bloom. When I asked him why he would dedicate so much time to just one flower, he smiled and said, "If you want something to bloom brilliantly, you must be willing to wait gracefully." That sentence stuck with me for years. Life, just like that orchid, needs space, stillness, and time. The people who move through life with this unhurried rhythm aren't lazy or indifferent, they're intentional. They don't chase every trend, don't panic when others seem to move faster, and don't scramble to meet society's timelines. Instead, they've cultivated a deep internal rhythm, an intuitive sense of when to act and when to wait. Their calmness is not a lack of ambition, but a sign of deep confidence. They trust the process because they've put in the work. This ability to remain unhurried extends into their career, relationships, and even personal growth. Take the example of a software engineer who spent years refining his coding skills. While his peers chased the latest tech fads, he quietly mastered core fundamentals. When the opportunity finally came to lead a revolutionary project, he didn't just succeed, he excelled. Why? Because he'd been preparing for that moment for years. His patience wasn't passive, it was strategic. You see, not being in a rush is a form of wisdom. It's the realization that real value, whether in relationships, knowledge, or skills, takes time to build. Cultivated people resist the modern temptation of shortcuts. They understand that anything worthwhile is worth the wait, and they're willing to walk the long road if it leads to somewhere meaningful. And that brings us to the second trait: the refusal to engage in unnecessary conflict. Look around, life is filled with battles. People fight for status, for opinions, for validation. But cultivated individuals don't jump into every fray. They choose their battles with surgical precision. It's not because they're passive or weak, it's because they have clarity. They understand that not every disagreement requires a response, and not every criticism deserves a rebuttal. There's a story I love about a senior executive at a major corporation. When she was young, office politics consumed him: gossip, turf wars, backstabbing. But over time, he began to pull back. She started focusing solely on performance, communication, and collaboration. While others played games, he built trust. Years later, when the company underwent restructuring, most of their politicians were phased out. he was promoted to one of the top roles, not because he schemed better, but because he was the one person everyone respected. His motto: win the war, not the battle. This idea of not getting dragged into pointless skirmishes is liberating. Cultivated people don't argue to be right, they act to be effective. They've transcended the ego need to win conversations. Instead, they ask themselves, does this matter in the long run? Will this contribute to growth, harmony, or clarity? If not, they walk away, not with resentment, but with peace. You might be wondering, doesn't that mean letting people walk all over you? Not at all. Cultivated individuals are firm when it counts. They have boundaries, but they also know that reacting emotionally to every provocation only wastes energy. They conserve that energy for meaningful action. Their strength isn't loud, but it's unshakable. When they speak, people listen not because they dominate, but because they radiate calm authority. And now for the third trait, they don't drain themselves. This may be the most revolutionary of all. So many of us are burnt out, not because we are working too hard, but because we are spending energy on things that don't truly matter. Worrying about what others think, obsessing over the past, fearing a future we can't control. This kind of internal chaos is exhausting. Cultivated people understand that the most valuable resource in life isn't money, it's your energy, and they guard it like gold. There's a writer I deeply admire who once shared that she used to obsess over every comment on her articles. She would revise her work dozens of times, constantly seeking validation. Eventually, it led to anxiety and burnout. But one day, she decided to write for herself, not for applause. That shift in mindset didn't just heal her, it transformed her writing. She became freer, bolder, and more authentic. Her audience grew, not because she tried harder, but because she aligned with her truth. This is what happens when you stop self-draining. You reclaim your focus. You protect your peace. You learn to say no to noise, to guilt, to overthinking. You embrace silence, solitude, and self-respect. Cultivated people don't fear stillness, they thrive in it. They know that not every fight is worth fighting, not every opportunity is right, and not every relationship must be saved. They've learned to walk away with grace, and to rest without guilt. What's so remarkable is how these three traits, being unhurried, non-contentious, and non-draining, feed into each other. When you stop rushing, you see more clearly. When you see clearly, you avoid drama. When you avoid drama, your energy rises, and when your energy rises, your life expands. You become not just more efficient, but more fulfilled. And now, let me tell you why this matters, not just in some abstract, philosophical way, but in the most practical sense. These traits aren't just noble ideals, they're survival tools. In a world addicted to speed, noise, and distraction, the ability to be calm, focused, and centered is your superpower. Cultivated people aren't just more serene, they're more effective. They live with intention, they love with depth, and they lead with quiet conviction. And here's something personal. I remember a phase in my own life when I was constantly comparing myself to others, feeling like I wasn't moving fast enough, successful enough, known enough. I was caught in the trap of constant self-measurement, but over time, I began to adopt the mindset we've been discussing today. I started to slow down. I stopped arguing with people who didn't matter. I let go of toxic self-criticism. And what happened was profound. I didn't just feel better, I became better. My work improved, my relationships deepened. My sleep, my health, my joy, they're all transformed. And I know many of you watching today have had similar experiences, or maybe you're in the thick of it now. Maybe you're exhausted, pulled in 100 directions, trying to prove something. I want to tell you, you don't need to chase the noise, you just need to come back to yourself. Practice patience, let go of unnecessary conflict, protect your inner light. That's not just how you find peace, it's how you find power. So if this resonates with you, I encourage you share your thoughts in the comments. Have you met someone truly cultivated? Are you working on becoming that person yourself? What's been your biggest struggle in embracing patience, peace, and preservation? Let's create a space here where we lift each other up. If you found value in today's video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps this channel grow, and more importantly, it helps us bring these important conversations to more people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay grounded, stay growing.